Welcome to the Wild Mom Podcast. This is your sacred space where mystic moms come together to explore the magic of raising sovereign new earth kids while navigating their own spiritual journey with ease, grace, and flow. I'm your host, Emily Mioto, and I'm here to guide you as you step boldly into your power as a cycle breaker, a way shower, and a heart-centered mama on a mission. Here, we'll dive into the tools, the wisdoms, and the practices to help you feel supported, held, and seen as you balance motherhood and mysticism, creating a life that is not just aligned, but also deeply fulfilling for you and your family. So, if you're ready to embrace your wild side, rewrite the rules, and raise the next generation with confidence and love, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Wild Mom Podcast, where your soul's purpose meets the magic of motherhood. Okay. We are live for another episode of the Wild Mom Podcast. And I have with me, she's like the master healer that we all want in our back pockets. This is Pixy. Pixy, if you are tuning in live, chances are some of you know her. She is such a dear, powerful, sovereign woman who I am so privileged to have known from a sacred gifting economy that we're a part of. And Pixy is a shaman. She is a spiritual leader. She's a healer. And she's here today to talk to us about something that's really important in motherhood, which is soothing the fears of motherhood and really coming back to the truth, the knowing that we are always divinely guided. So welcome, Pixy, to the Wild Mom Podcast. I know I gave a little description of who you are, but I also know that is like only a sliver of the magic that you hold. So please share with us a little bit more about yourself and what you do on this third plane.
Well, thank you, Emily, so much for having me. I'm so excited and happy to share. Yes, I have accumulated a lot of wisdom in my life experience. Um, I actually, interestingly enough, don't didn't birth children myself, but I have been mothering since I was a child. So I had my younger sister was 7 years younger than me. And my mom had started out pretty strong, but she ended up having a lot of her own difficulties and became an alcoholic. So, and also attempted suicide when I was only like 7 years old, 8 years old. So basically, started to feel my strength and leaned on me. And I pretty much raised my mother. So I was a mother all my life, and then went on to learn the hardest challenges that happens because when you have a healthy child, we still have worries, but you can imagine when you have somebody you care for that is on the brink of making really bad decisions all the time in their life and suicidal, that called me to draw from our divine knowledge deep within my spirit because the earth people, the healers that I knew or therapists I didn't know any healers at the time, but the therapists at the time, they didn't know how to help and nobody knew how to help. And so I had to call on divine wisdom to find answers, and I did. And I found amazing answers. And I was able to not only find a peace in helping my mother, but I've gone on and spent pretty much all my life. I'm in my 60s now, and I've spent all my life mothering and helping and supporting many, many children of all ages to thrive in the fullest light of who they are and discover that they, or rediscover how much they already have helping them through life. And so, what I wanted to actually just introduce today, like she said, was we as parents in any shape or form, or caretakers in any shape or form, we mean so well, right? We want the best for the people we love, our children. And so many well-meaning parents think of the things they want to protect their kid. They want them to grow up healthy, happy, safe. And especially when they're babies, you really think safety, safety, safety. So what does that tend to do to our minds? We tend to worry. And since this is a mystic container, I know I can speak to you guys and say, you all know about energy and that the energy of worry actually is not the wavelength of someone's soul. It's the opposite. It's fear is the kind of the thing that kills your access to those beautiful, intuitive, loving guidance that would keep your child safe, right? So as much as moms we want to worry, we need to catch ourselves and recognize that the first of all, I would say this: remind yourself that your children were born with their own internal compass from a presence, whatever you call that presence, their higher self or God, the universe. But that presence that they're tuned and connected to has all the intelligence and love and big picture of their life already. And that guidance will ensure their safety and ensure their most ideal life to flourish. So, as moms, rather than making it your job to come up with all the possible scenarios you need to prevent, instead think of it as modeling for your child their happiness, their confidence in following their intuition. And that comes by you doing the same, of course. And what happens instead is you get to give up every worry. If you can trust in your divine guidance from moment to moment and feeling the love that you feel for your child and really feeling happy, feeling that joy and love for your child, that energy will allow you to hear everything that you are here to give them, but also will encourage them to do the same for themselves. And also, I would say that they need to be told, and I would love all parents to do this, is to tell their children that I want you to follow your own inner heart and what feels loving and happy to you above every other voice, above your teachers, and even above me as your mom. Because moms are still human and they don't always find that peace and happiness flow. Sometimes they are overwhelmed and in those cases they may say something that the child it's not in harmony with their guidance. And we really my work has been undoing that damage for so many generations because so many people have lost their way because they're not listening to what's already there within them that would move them along perfectly. I mean, absolutely provide everything they could imagine. So there's an easy, peaceful way to raise your children, to step back, relax, find your peace and happiness, and model that for your child and then remind them that they have it too. Oh, encourage their intuition. Tell them, instead of tell them what to do and how to behave, spend time just telling them how amazing they are. Tell them how amazing they are, how you love them just like they are, that they are more than good enough, and that they have such a beautiful wisdom, and ask them to use that and ask them to follow it and tell them that they are so loved and guided and just keep telling them the truth and that'll keep you in the truth as well as you do it. So I hope that made sense. I'm trying to simplify it, but when you find yourself worrying, stop yourself and say, but wait a minute, love is the way to guide these kids. So let me do what I can to find that feeling in me again for them. Let's find my joy again. It's the opposite wavelength of worry. So it really takes a conscious flip in focus to do it. But you do it and you find out that I have a great example of somebody that I was on suicide watch for. Again, intense care, right? But I still wanted to live my own life and I wanted to follow my own message, which was stay happy. And it was scary to stay happy because it was like, oh, it meant I went off and did other things and I didn't watch him. But what I did is I trusted it. And I did stay happy. And I trusted my vibration of happiness would take care of everybody I love.
Hmm.
My vibration of happiness would take care of everyone I love. And it came true. It's come true time and time and time. I've proven this to be true. That day I was off like having some fun adventure and I was driving down the highway and I got this ping to go visit him. And at the time that I showed up was exactly at the moment I was led to be there to save him from making a really bad decision. And I wouldn't have
Like
heard that.
truth bumps.
Yeah, yeah. And the day that happened was the day I never gave up trusting that again because I was like, okay, I'm covered. I'm covered, you know? And as a mom, you want to know you're covered. You're not alone. Your child is being loved whether you're present or not for it. So
Hmm.
it's like, don't put such a burden on yourselves. Really, it is, I mean, it's so simple, but it's really don't worry, be happy. And that is actually how to be the best mom you could be, you know?
I sometimes, so for everyone who doesn't know, Pixie's also mentoring me. So as I'm listening to you, I'm getting like wrapped in. I was like, wait a minute, I'm still hosting a podcast. So I gotta come back because there's so many gems that you drop all the time whenever we connect. And for everyone who is live, drop your questions in as well for Pixie because she has so much wisdom and she has helped me so much. And one of the things that you shared with me in one of our sessions together that really ties in what you have shared here is that it's not our job to raise these kids, right? It's to create an environment for them to thrive. And when you told me that, it was like something clicked in me and I switched up how I was taking care of my daughter. And it became less worry and more, she's got this. I know she's got this. And especially having a new birth kid, which is like she's so much further advanced for her age. I'm like, okay, there's no rule book here. So
Right.
I can't go by what everyone else is doing because everyone else is filled with worry at her doing the things that she's doing at her age. But when you told me that in that session, it really brought me back to this place of trust that, yeah, my job is not to raise her because, in a way, I know that with that mentality, I would be limiting her.
Exactly.
By creating that environment for her to thrive, it takes away the kind of like the quote unquote like boss energy of a mom and more of, I'm here to catch you if you fall, but I'm going to let you learn that when you fall, you can get back up and that you're always supported. And I want to thank you for that because it has made such a difference. And I know just by sharing that as well, it's going to make a difference for everyone else who is listening to this, who's tuning in live, because worry is one of those things that really it gets its claws in us as moms,
Does.
and it can take us in this spiral spiral into the intrusive thoughts, right? The overthinking, the fear, I need to cocoon and bubble my child. I need to put all these limitations there in order to quote unquote protect. And what you're saying is really giving us an opportunity to break all that and say, be free because you came in free and I'm just going to support your freedom, which is, it's so beautiful. So, oh, I love all this so much. And one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on the podcast is because I can't remember who I shared this with, but I was like, I was talking to you, I was talking to someone about you, and I was like, Pixie is a sovereign child. She is the like she's truly is a sovereign child because what you have experienced in your childhood, what you continue to experience, what you share with others, this is what I want my daughter to embody. This is what I want all moms to be able to raise kids as sovereign, like you. So I know some people may hear that and be like, what does that actually mean? How are you a sovereign child? So I know you understand this. I know
Yeah.
you know exactly what I mean. So can you describe what that sovereign child is? How are you that sovereign child? Because I know that just makes the work that you do so much more powerful because you've lived it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Oh my God, Emily, that meant so much to me to hear. See, it's that when somebody sees you, it doesn't matter what age, it makes you sing inside, right? They get you, they see you. So adding to that, when you do that for your child, I love the words, you got this, she's got this. Believing in them. Oh, it's the most empowering thing. Telling them who they are and how amazing they are in the unique ways you see in them. Oh, that's what brings them home if they get off balance. That's the best thing you can do. Don't try to solve their problem. Remind them who they are, and then they will solve their own problems. They will find their own answers, and you will be teaching them to ride that bike on their own. And that's what sovereign is. Sovereign is, I am here and I'm interacting with all these people I love, but I'm not relying on them for my well-being because they are allowed to be human and they're allowed to be up and down. And I can't, you can't rely on something that's a moving target. You're going to become fearful yourself because you won't feel there's something to rely. Yet your own inner spirit is permanently loving you, and that's your foundation. That's your consistent foundation. So yes, this is beautiful. I was such a sovereign kid, okay, that I put out such a wavelength of freedom and confidence even as I came to Earth. Do you know that my mother, she picked up on it. She felt it from me. And each child, by the way, does have their own unique soul path. And we're going to touch on that a little bit in a minute. But so I came in as a freedom. I'm a five, and I'm here about
I'm
being
with you.
free. And Emily and I happen to be the same numbers by no coincidence, life path numbers. So here's the thing. She was more hovering over my brother and sister, but she just let be free. So I helped create that with her. See, I'm like, I'm free. So I remember being 2 or 3 years old and sitting in my front yard while she's in the kitchen doing dishes and playing in the grass. Get this, you guys. I get up and decide I'm going to go discover the world because, I feel my higher self. I feel whole. I don't feel like I need my mommy. I already have the greatest power holding me, loving me. So I go and tootle around the neighborhood. My mother, of course, does get kind of freaked out when I disappeared.
Yeah, I would too.
This is back in like the 60s, so neighborhoods were safe and nobody cared about that. So it wasn't so much that, just where am I? And she ended up calling the local police and they went and they did find me. But guess where I was? I was in somebody's open garage and I had attracted every dog in the neighborhood to come play with me.
Oh my God.
And and I was just like, this is I'm living. Life is amazing. I'm discovering all this beauty on earth. And then there's so many more stories, but because of time, I'll just jump to this another time. We were in Puerto Rico. My whole family was in Puerto Rico. It was my brother and I, my mom and my dad. They love tennis. I love swimming. And so I got bored watching them play tennis and I walked off to the ocean by myself. I was 6 years old. And I found an older couple and I remember teaching them like I had all this wisdom and it was coming through me as a teacher, even at age 6. So don't discount, don't look at your children like they're small and don't know, and you're older and you know. My parents did that to me, I was insulted. I was like, I'm your equal.
Yeah.
Don't look down on me because I have a small body. Please stop doing that.
Yeah.
And
My
and
daughter
don't,
would be insulted too.
yeah,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And how do you know that you think you are older than me? I have had many lifetimes. I'm an ancient teacher. Don't please assume that you know more. Yes, you might know more about how things are done on Earth. That's fine. But you don't know no more. In fact, I have a whole lot of things that I would help you with if you would let me.
Mm,
And so I've encouraged every mom, especially moms that are aware like you, to actually, when the child can become a little more verbal, to sit down and be their student. Say, okay, we're gonna hold class and you tell me what you know.
yeah.
And respect them, give them that respect of seeing that they have something to teach you too.
Mm,
And when you do that, you would let them blossom and become confident well before, we usually let them, right?
mhm.
And so yes, so the sovereignty was I knew to listen to myself. So I didn't follow the rules, which meant I carved my own path. But my path was way more successful and more free and fun and joyous and creative and helpful to many more people than if I had just stayed in their boxes,
Yep.
you know? And so, yeah, it was a struggle sometimes because I was always trying to say, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to listen to your boxes, you know? But yes, your kids are coming in bright and switched on and ready to roll, and they know so much, and you get to change how you view them from, oh, they're my little thing, which is, yes, they're darling and little and cute, but they're also brilliant and ancient and wise. So give them that respect, and you will encourage their sovereign sense of wholeness, their sense of inner completion
Mhm,
all the way through their lives.
mhm,
And yeah, they say you shouldn't be your child's best friend. Well, no, I think being best friends and equals and partners in this journey is really the ideal way to look at it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much here, so much here. Just that last piece of the equal. There are times when my daughter will tell me, like, wear a hat for us to go for a walk. I'm like, nah, nah, it's fine. I don't need a hat. And she won't let me leave the house until I have a hat on. And every single time, I'm like, ah, she was right. And so it's like in those moments,
Wow.
like, I could have ignored her because she was smaller, but she somehow knew it's cold. My mom doesn't like the cold. It's probably best if she wears a hat. And she provided me that wisdom. And even now when she's not super verbal yet,
Yeah.
but she still communicates so clearly through energy and through body language. And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful to witness the intelligence and the consciousness that is already present even without the language being there. Like she's at the point where she's like, I don't need to speak. You fully understand me. Why do I need to talk? Right? And it's just so beautiful because it's because of work that we're doing together and this knowledge of those first 7 years and the importance and just going through my own belief systems that I know that I can have that confidence that she's walking on a ledge and I know she can do it because she's asking for that independence. She can trust herself. And so it's my opportunity to trust her. However, I know that there are a couple moms in this space and who are listening to this, whether live or on the replay, that are just getting into this world.
Mhm.
And the worry and the intrusive thoughts are really consuming them. I
Mhm.
know when I was in my postpartum phase, like I was deep in it and I couldn't see the higher and greater truth. So for the moms who are in that space, how how do you switch from this worry, this limitation, because we know it's coming also from their parents.
Yeah.
How do they switch to that place of trust so that their kids can be sovereign? and they can parent and mother without worry?
That's a great question. An important question. So first of all, it's the very time the if this resonates at all, and if you see that you would love to have for those moms, like you say, that are still in it, what the first thing I would say is, does this sound good to you? Does it sound like attractive to you that you could have a fun and free and enjoyable experience with your children and let go of the worry? So, first ask yourself, do you want this? Because if you do, that's just the decision to want this will start to activate your own inner guidance to help you along this journey to that state. Number one. Number two, I would say the first thing you want to do is wake up every morning and make a very clear decision that I want nothing more important is that I feel good. To be a good mom, I need to give good vibes to my child. Everybody would agree that that makes common sense. So nothing is more important than that. When you decide that you want to feel good and you make it your mission that you want to trust your heart and what feels good to you, that's when you're going to notice the worry. See, you don't notice the worry when you live in worry. It's just normal. We've been taught it's good to worry about your children. So you don't notice it. So you can't change something you're not aware of. So when you make a decision that I want to move in a level of joy and feelings of peace and happiness for me and my child or children, then you're going to notice when you don't feel. Pay attention to how you feel. You're going to notice when you're not feeling happy. You're going to notice when you're worrying. Once you discover a worry, take the next moment you can. It might not be right while you're busy with the kid, but when you get a chance, put it a note that you will spend some quiet time in the bathroom, even. Just go sit on the toilet. I'm not kidding.
I do that
I've
all the
done it.
time.
It's the great break. It's like, go take that break. And then ask yourself, okay, what am I worrying about? And so you're going to say, oh, I'm worried that if I feed them this food, that it's going to, I'm not sure if that's going to affect their health or not, or to create a bad eating habit, for example. Now, then you ask yourself, but I'm worrying because there's something that's important to me. It's because the worry's not bad. It's trying to just point you in something important. So don't make it bad. You just say, well, what's important to me? And now verbalize that. So what's important is I want my child to be healthy. I want my child's eating to be enjoyable, but also nourishing. I want to know what's best to feed them and also listen to them and what's best to feed them. And another thought would be, and in the whole big picture of this, they're still actually, I know a lot of people with a lot of bad eating habits that have ended up living happy, healthy lives. So let's not worry too much about the nitpicking of that. Let's just trust that they have an internal healthiness inside them. And the more I decide that, hey, I want this to be easy, I don't want to worry about it. I just want to intend it. I know that my intention has power. My thoughts of saying, I want to see my kid healthy and thriving in their physical body, and just start talking like that and notice how it starts to make you feel inside. Like, wouldn't it be nice if I just knew how to do that well? And then you flip it. You've turned the worry into the want. And then you start to focus on the want and you start to feel a peace come over you.
Hmm.
And then you start getting some guidance. And then you start practicing more and more this process and you gain trust as you go, right? Sometimes you feel like you have to jump off a ledge and try something new because it feels good, not because you know it's going to work, but because it feels good and you do it. And then you develop a little more trust because it works and you develop a little more trust. So don't expect it to be like one fell swoop. It's going to be a step-by-step journey. But yes, and there's people like Emily and I that are here literally to support your process and help you with those answers and finding those answers and gaining more confidence. That's why we're here, because it's not an easy journey once you've already been embedded in it, and we do need help. So,
Mm, I love that. I love that answer so much. And just you mentioning about how it's not an easy task because we're doing the healing work on ourselves
right.
and for our kids. And one of the things that I found that made it easier was understanding my daughter's blueprint and my blueprint and how it worked together. And that was because of the help of you again. So, can you describe more about the blueprint and I'll let you get more into it, but I know you know what I'm talking
Yes.
about. So,
Yes.
can you get
It's
more into that and how that can really help with the supporting of their sovereignty rather than the limitations, and how that can help you yourself in navigating motherhood and your own connection with your child because it's that also is what helps make it easier and more graceful.
yeah. No, great question. So, yes, if you haven't heard of it before, every child is born with a blueprint. Their soul actually has a energetic set of strengths and weaknesses that they're here to develop the strength side of. So we all have all these beautiful qualities in us, but there's those of us that came with very specific strengths that we came to enjoy for ourselves and to share with others. And so I do something called a life path reading on each individual. And what it does is it helps you to understand how that child thinks, what's important to that one. Because my brother, my sister, and myself all had three different life paths and therefore needed three different kinds of parenting.
Mhm.
So, what worked for my sister definitely did not work for me. And it's so knowing that it's also not one size fits all with your children. And I provide sessions where you can get a blueprint reading of your children and of yourself and of your life partner, spouse, or whoever's the parent with you, if you have one. And so it's so helpful not only for you to know how to speak to this child what matters to them. So if one child really is more clingy, they need more partnership. My brother was like that. He needed a partnership. And then you have another child that, like me, who needs freedom. So it's like, let me go play by myself and maybe go take my brother off to the park to do something. And now everybody's going to be feeling loved and
Mhm.
safe as opposed to trying to make me always play with her made me crazy. I just was like, God, get away from me. You're like not giving me enough me time, you know? And understanding then also how to speak to them when they have issues come up. Because and when you know what their weaknesses or their I wouldn't say weaknesses, but challenges are in their development, then you know what to speak to. You know how to word it. And I provide you specific things to say to your children that will be the thought that they'll go, oh, thank you, Mom. That's perfect. Um, the other part that helps is that you also have a different vibration between you and each of your children. So when you will understand yourself and how you relate to them, you find out what strengths you two have as opposed to you two, and you can bring those to their, forefront consciously.
Mhm.
Because the more we understand how we're built, the easier it is then to navigate. And it was amazing, you guys, when I discovered this, because it changed everything for me. It was like, first of all, somebody read me, and I went, oh my goodness, I'm finally being seen. I'm finally being understood, and I'm not crazy. I am different than the rest of my family for a great reason, not because I'm weird. It's their gift to have me like this. And so it changed my whole sense of self-esteem and my whole sense of self-acceptance and self like oh wow, I'm amazing. And then, of course, I could do the same with everybody else in my family and understand why I got along better with my dad than I did with my mom, and how to make it better with my mom, and how to, understand why my mom and my brother had this dynamic and how to help them. I mean, it's just an amazing tool. And so I highly recommend having your life path readings of at least your children, but definitely yourself as well would be good.
I know when I found out that part of my life path is like you, it's the freedom piece. And with that comes this, I like to be alone. I love my alone time. And I was judged for that by my mom, who was different life path number than me, obviously. And in her motherhood experience with us, it was give, 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 never taking time for herself and give, give, give. And I felt guilty for taking time, thinking, wait, something has to be wrong here if I'm always wanting, not always, but like I'm needing time away from my daughter or my husband and just to be with me and creator and myself and all the other spirits guides and everything.
Yes.
And then when I found out that, okay, this is actually part of my blueprint and I need to honor this, it took away that worry that I was going to be judged. It took away that guilt and it allowed me to thrive in doing that, which allowed me to show up better for my daughter and my husband and my tribe. So I absolutely, yeah, it is amazing to know that we all come with a blueprint. Like our
Yeah.
soul came here with like a clear, here's your guide.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can thrive in this lifetime. And yet we're still taught the old way of parenting. We're still taught the cookie cutter way of connecting with our kids. And I know that's not what the moms here are needing, are calling in, are it's not going to serve them. It's not going to serve their kids because I know the kids that are coming in now, they're so wild and so free that even if we tried, they would break that. They would break the mold of the old way of parenting. And so having tools like this is just so valuable for moms who are raising sovereign kids because it also gives you a clear understanding of what you need to do for yourself so you can also thrive. So you can break your own molds of the conditions and limitations that your parents placed on you, allowing you to be a cycle breaker. I'm obsessed. I love this, Pixie. Thank you.
I know we could go on forever because there's just so many areas that this benefits you. And I love that that means so much to me to hear that you feel at peace with taking that time with spirit, with yourself to listen, because truly you're then now the model of that we all need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, some do it better in a group, some do it better in a partnership. It's true. And some do it just alone. Nonetheless, you're still modeling that it's not only okay to do it, it's essential to do it, to truly parent as you ideally would like to. You can't give from a not filled up cup. And you now I'm so happy that you can embrace filling your cup first and foremost. That's just everything like just if I've just shown that to you, I'm like, life is good. I'm happy. I'm good. Yeah. And it really the female dynamic on this planet from before like my generation for sure and back, it's always been about sacrifice. And yet love actually, you guys, is win-win. Love is win-win. Love does not require, in fact, there is no sacrifice in love. There's a plentiness. The more I give from love, the more I receive love. So it's win-win. Then that person I'm loving on, they're also receiving and they're also filling up and able to give something of true value to their family, not from a drained, oh, mom's tired and bitchy now, right? And everybody knows what that feels like when they're drained. Oh, especially all of us women have done it and know it. But do we really want to be a bitchy person to our kids and our spouses? No, of course not. That's not who we are, right? And yet it's in our responsibility to fill our cup. And again, having a mentor can help because they model that for you because you didn't have it modeled for you, right?
Mm.
So this just, my heart is so full of hearing you and all your beautiful feedback just from, and we didn't take a lot of time. It was just some very clear shifts of how you viewed things, and you're off and running in such a more empowered, happy way. I love it, Emily.
And this is what I want for every mom. So, that's a great segue into Pixie. How can people work deeper with you?
Yeah, so I'll have Emily give you guys a link since this is fa on Facebook. You can contact me through my Facebook page and just send me a message, and then we can have like a quick chat and find out what you're looking for specifically, and we can set up some coaching. I mean, just even one good life path reading session with me, usually with that and some good teachings and help to get you on your way is usually, I usually like to do 2 hours with the first person, and that's 200.
Mm.
So it's very worth the while because that's
Oh,
some,
it's worth
what I
it.
will give you is something that you can use for the rest of your life, and that will actually save you tons and tons of money and worry and struggle and down the road. And then if people want more one-on-one coaching, we can set up one-on-one coaching, like on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, depending on what your needs are. But just reach out to me and we will customize it because again, I will follow what your intuition is saying. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to listen and help you hear yourself and how you best need to um, be served. And I just love listening and showing up how you need.
Mm. And I love that so much. And just from the sessions that we had, and I know there's going to be so many more, it has been so transformational for my own journey, my motherhood journey. And so I know everyone who contacts you to work with you is also going to experience your magic. So I know we can talk for so long. We're both the same life path number. We we have that same energy. We keep going. And I'll definitely have you back on the podcast for another episode because there is so much wisdom that you hold that I want my audience and I want my community to be able to receive all of this. But for now, we will complete. So I thank you so much, Pixie, for being here, for dedicating your time, your energy, and giving so much love to myself and everyone here in the Wild Mom Facebook group who is going to listen to this on the Wild Mom podcast. And just thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Emily, on the most important topic I feel like we could be talking about for everybody. Because we've all got moms and we're all, you know what I mean? It's just like, let's get this cycle shifted to such a happier, freer, easier way so that these next set of kids, parenting is just fun to them, you know?
Mm, mm.
No more worries.
Well, thank you. And yes, I will drop all the links in the episode so everyone can connect with you deeper. And I thank you. And we will connect again for another episode of the Wild Mom podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.